You already know you want more. You can feel it, that pull towards something bigger. This podcast is for anyone who's done waiting for permission. I'm Julia McElgan. I'm a geologist, a founder, and the author of A Life Chosen. And every week I have conversations with people who decided, quietly, precisely, and without apology, to choose the bigger life. This is Choose Life Boldly. Welcome. So welcome to another episode of Choose Life Boldly. I'm very excited today to have my guest, Rosi Bremec, join us. Welcome, Rosi.
You. Happy to be here.
Absolutely. So Rosi joined us actually from the other side of the world in Europe, and I am really excited about this conversation today. But I thought, Rosi, you could maybe give everybody a quick introduction of yourself and let people know who you are and what you've been up to.
Great. I've been in multiple industries throughout my career, multiple countries. I think I've been into 7. I used to live in Canada when I was a young child, and recently I've been in the gaming industry in a C-suite role. In the past couple of months, I went through a kind of a transition and started writing about life in corporate and leaving corporate and all the bells and whistles that come with it. And I think that's where we met.
That's right. That is where we met. It was actually your LinkedIn post that talked about women in corporate walking away. And that was sort of the introduction to your post. But then right underneath it was an explanation of this redefining of ambition. And that really resonated with me. So I just wonder if you'd like to expand on that a little bit more.
Yeah, I wrote that because whether you choose to leave corporate or it's chosen for you, because there's a lot of us, including myself, that it was not my immediate decision. I think we're realizing that we are trying to function in a world that's not necessarily, I wouldn't say built for us, but it's a lot of us, it ends so abruptly. Or when it comes to, for example, we work so hard, we push, we were loyal, and then one fine day it all goes away as if nothing mattered, really. And I think a lot of us are starting to question, would I do that again? Is that really what I want to do for the rest of my life? And also the environment. It's there's a lot of performing. A lot of times you not really. It's not easy to say what you want. I mean, you can say what you want, but you're running a risk of not being there anymore. You come to a point where are you going to stand back and not be yourself? And sometimes you find a point where you're not yourself, and you wonder, when was the last time I really could and did say what I wanted? And because it's a very, I think it's a very, not restrictive, but it's a very controlled environment. You really can't do and be what you want a lot of the time.
I would agree with that. And my experience where a corporation also chose to no longer need my services came with that same pause of wondering, okay, I know I didn't fit here. I already knew that for so long, and yet I continued to stay because there was this holding on to so many years of investing into that corporation and putting your energy into it and giving everything that you had to this corporation and hoping for a payoff somehow, in whether it was in recognition or in a career advancement or in a new pathway.
Yeah.
And yet when it all is taken away from you, you sit there. And I think the first emotion, which I think you also talk about in either that LinkedIn post or other posts that you have written, is this concept of shame and this feeling of shame. And it's just sitting there and you're trying to understand it.
Yeah. And the funny thing is that when it's done and when it's said to you, so we'll talk about when you're let go, you're made redundant. I've let go of people. I've made people redundant myself. I know how the process works. I know what you can and cannot say. You cannot say a lot of things in that day. So I know that when it's done in a very controlled way. So legal tells you what to say, what not to say. You have to stick with the script. You become kind of like this kind of, I don't know, robot or something. It's just very cold. I knew that, and when it happened to me, even though I know this how it works, I still thought about what it said about me, not the way it was done, but what it said about me, and then you start questioning, should I've done that? Should I've not done that? There's so much uncertainty that comes with it that, yeah, you put all that effort into a role, into a job, the late nights, the sleepless nights. Sometimes, you don't know how you're going to tackle something. And then suddenly, and I think also you attach your identity to it a lot. And suddenly, from literally 1 hour to the next, it's taken away or it's gone. And then you wonder, well, did it all matter? Did I even matter? Did I, what happened here? And you end up just questioning your identity. I wrote an article the other day, and when I thought about it, I thought it was like I lost sight. My worth was always there, but I think shame comes in front of you, and you lose sight of yourself because shame takes a spot in front of all this story, and it makes up its own story. And that's the story you kind of you start to believe, and it takes some shaking up to really absorb the whole story, because it's really just a story. A company wanted to go a different direction, whatever the reason is, it happened, it's done. A lot of the times it has nothing to do with you personally, and internalizing, I think.
For sure. And I think that the concept of shame, especially when you have tied so much of your identity, and maybe with underneath that identity is your self-worth, and your self-worth is that title, or is that position, or is that corporation. And when it's taken away from you, you are left almost empty.
Yes.
You forgot who you were at the core. And now there's, like you said, uncertainty. Now you're having to embrace uncertainty. You have to figure out like what the next step is, and how to move forward.
And then that's when the corporate thing comes in. When you've experienced this, you've given your all, you've done it, you've pushed, you've performed, because it has nothing to do with performance. And then the rug's taken out of beneath your feet. Then to put yourself back into that position again, that's when you start thinking that. I think that's why women are also leaving corporate, because you either see it done to a friend or a colleague, or it's done to you, and then you start thinking, well, so I'm putting all this effort into this, and then just like my friend or just like myself or whatever, it's taken away, and like you're nothing, like you didn't matter.
So underneath all of that,
yeah,
we're obviously having this conversation because there is still a drive and still an ambition. And there's people that just judge when a woman walks away from a high profile corporate position, or doesn't choose to come back to find another role. And there's that judgment of maybe she's not as ambitious anymore. So do you want to touch a little bit more on like, what is this redefining ambition? And obviously your post got a ton of impressions. We talked about that in a previous conversation. So it hit a nerve, and it almost opened up Pandora's box to give thousands of people permission to connect with this idea of walking away and still owning their ambition somehow.
Yeah. Yes. I had thousands. I had never, I've been posting on LinkedIn, I get, the mediocre kind of impressions and things like that. But that post, and I followed up with a couple more, were hitting the tens of thousands, and most of them are saying that happened to them a while ago, and they've redefined their ambition in the sense that they've regained agency. I've started a thing called agency letters, and it's regaining agency of your life, because I think they've realized that they put all their eggs in that basket, and having maybe a multiple streams of income, even they could be smaller at first, or having something that you create, that's something that you're not making somebody else's dream come true. You're making your own.
Mm.
I think that's something, even if it's a small, I met a woman who left a corporate job and she's opened a sweet shop, and it's like a retro 80s kind of sweet shop, and she's absolutely loving it. And she does podcasts. She's got this business, and another lady left um, the corporate world, and she's opening up a Reiki business. She wants to do Reiki, which it's a different form of ambition. In my case, for example, I'm really falling in love with writing, and I feel like it's helping me organize my thoughts, and there's a lot of things I want to say, and when you write and you kind of tweak and edit, you formalize your thoughts a lot better, and I want to see where that goes. Even every time I put something out there, I feel proud of it, and to fund this space, I've taken on some small contracts, not anything major like I had, but they're keeping me afloat, and they're not giving me that sense of urgency to go back in, because I thought I was ready to go back in. Like if you would have spoken to me 3 months after this happened, I would have been ready to go back. And now I'm enjoying seeing where this goes, and I'm finding time for things like friends. I'm in a community. I write for them as well. I have more time to invest in friendships and my health, and I still work. I'm still up here in my office working away. I'm not sitting doing nothing.
No.
I've got a couple of projects. I'm helping a friend create a business. I'm helping another startup prepare to scale, because a lot of times they're just doing things randomly. I'm doing my writing. I've got these contracts. So I'm busy. I'm happily busy, but nobody. And if one of these things are taken away, if one of these things stop, I'm absolutely fine, because I've got all the others still going.
Right.
It's not like all or nothing. And it's amazing what opens up, but I haven't come here. It wasn't overnight.
No.
It took a couple of breakdowns to get here, and I'm not there yet. So one of the things I wanted to do was write and speak like today from the space of, we call the messy middle, or the magical middle, I'm starting to call it.
I like the magical middle.
I like the magical, the messy middle. I mean, what is not messy,
Yeah.
And it's a magical space. It's and the uncertainty bit, like being a woman and everything has to be structured, and you know where you're going, you know what you're doing. Now, I've got some structure, I've got some work I have to do, obviously, but the uncertainty is being embraced big time.
It sounds like the uncertainty is allowing you to dive deeper into the exploration of bringing back, you talked about agency and creating and being creative. And so that uncertainty almost gives you permission, or gives you that space to explore a whole bunch of different ideas and thoughts, even, and maybe even emotions and feelings to really connect back to who you are at the core.
Oh, very much so. Very much so. Some people will say, well, I can't afford to stop or to do this. So that's why I took on these projects to have an income coming in, but they're much less. So they're not like C-suite roles. There's something I could do with my eyes closed,
Right.
So yes, there's work, but it's not something that's going to take over my mind or my brain, my creativity, for example. So I still left space for that, because that's my priority.
Yeah, it's not drawing from an energy bank that you don't have anything else to give.
Exactly.
Your energy bank is now focused on figuring out this new phase of who Rosie is.
Yeah.
And what you're wanting to do.
Yeah. And
yeah. you started talking about the magical middle, and before that you said messy. And I think sort of that pain and grieving and saying goodbye and essence of loss is maybe part of that too, right?
Yes.
You had such a prominent career
Yeah.
within this corporate structure, and now you're looking for something completely different.
Mm.
But there's a sense of loss there as well.
Sense of loss, which I didn't really see coming, because people go, great, you've got time now, you're free, you could do whatever you want. But, when you've had a full calendar, you've had a full day, you've had calls coming in, and then suddenly you don't. There is a sense of relief for a while, a very short while, but then it's like, where am I? Who am I? What am I doing? So what are you doing, or what do you do? You're like,
Yeah, that explaining how you feel in their eyes, the empty space of a day.
depends what day of the week or when you're asking me, and the answer was always a little bit different. I don't know how many times I've changed my LinkedIn headline. Like, you looked at mine one day, it would be this, and it would be, another week I'm like, oh, I think I'm going to go this way. I think I'm going to go this way. If anybody were following or tracking my headlines, for example, they'd go, this woman is, yeah, she needs help. I don't, it's my life and it's my future. So I don't really care what anybody else thinks. Also, something I want to say is that the women that I found that showed up in this past 10 months are insanely amazing. A lot of them I had never met before. They just kind of showed up in this space. And one of them said, our mothers and grandmothers maybe never had the opportunity like we're having, because she was going through the same thing, of having a space where you go, right, okay, what am I going to do from now till, because I mean, I have a good 20 years left for sure to do something else with myself. And if I go back 20 years from today, I mean, that's a long time.
Yes.
So what do you want to create for yourself from do you just want to do the same thing over again? Or do you maybe want to take this moment and go, okay, what are we going to do? I want to make sure that people know that maybe it's something less grandiose, like the lady in the sweet shop, where it depends what you look at as grand. Sometimes some people start something and it's theirs, and it's something small, little business, a little craft business, or a consultancy, or a fractional role, or there's so many things we can do now.
We're incredibly lucky and blessed to be living in this era of Earth's time, right? There's so many advances through technology that have allowed us to take that pause.
Yeah.
And really reflect on the impact we want to make in the next 20 years. For me, that was the biggest thing, is I wanted to make sure that the work I was doing had a positive impact and was creating positive value around me and for others.
Yes. And I'll go back to one of your first questions, and you answered it probably better than I did, is the redefining of ambition. I think that's what I'm hearing a lot. What you just said is what I'm hearing a lot from the people who've reached out to me, is that they want to do however small or big, or just something that you've put out there in the world that made it a little bit better in whatever way, shape, or form. And that's something I'm hearing a lot.
And it's interesting that it isn't just a North America problem or a corporate America problem. This is, I think, one of the reasons I'm so happy that you decided to jump on this podcast with me, is because we're connecting the Western world and probably across into other cultures as well. This idea of women choosing and making a choice and making a deliberate decision to navigate down a different pathway and a different journey.
Yeah. And unapologetically, I'm meeting a lot of younger women, much younger than me, that already have this kind of around them, which I'm really proud of. But I think the older I get, I feel that I I I I want to do what's good for me. I want to do something different or something that maybe is not so traditional or so expected of me. I'll do it.
Well, it's like the analogy just came to me was in an airplane when they tell you to always put your, in the case of an emergency, you put your mask on first and then you help other people.
Yeah.
And this is the same thing. Like if you don't have a mask on and breathing oxygen, there's no way that you're able to help other people. So you have to be solid and comfortable and feeling absolutely strength in your core before you can help others or before that can radiate out from you.
Yeah.
It has to start from within
It does.
first.
It does. And I think even the biological things that are happening to us, we're going to menopause, the estrogen, I mean, I left ages ago. And when the estrogen leaves you, you turn inwards and you're like, okay, this is about me now. Let me see. I gotta see what I gotta do for me so that I can give, continue giving, because you can't continue giving like you did in your 20s and 30s,
No.
40s.
Your biology just isn't.
You're just not the same. And if you don't do anything about it, I think we don't handle it well. We get sick, and so there's a time where you have to go, okay, this is, got to sort something out. Things have got to change. Boundaries have got to be set. And in the professional life, let's see what we're going to do to satisfy this urge to, I don't know, make an impact or something like that. And as we said as well, the era we're in is so, I mean, there's a lot of, there's goods and bads. A couple of months ago, I put out a website and it was all fractional and I was going all operator and all that. And now I'm leaning towards, and I put out a website, like the lamest website you could ever, had created it myself. And now I've learned more about AI. I've learned how I'm learning about myself. So I want to change it. I want it to match my identity, like as I'm evolving. So I'm like currently just working on that now and just seeing how I can, because when I look at the one I created 6 months ago,
It doesn't reflect who you are today
but
anymore.
no.
You're in this evolution, and daily you're moving closer and closer to sort of this concept maybe of your true essence.
Yeah.
And you're,
Which is great with this day and age, because you could just, use AI to go, right, this, have a good chat with it and just say, okay, I wanna revamp. This is not, look, this is my old website. It just does not, I don't agree with it anymore. Who's that?
yeah.
And you can come back and do and revamp it to match your identity and to match what you're representing right now. And that's absolutely fine. I've spoken to people and to friends as well. And they're like, yeah, but I'm going to change whatever I was. And I'm like, yeah, let's change. Why not? Why not?
And I think there's letting people understand or know that there is permission to be a different person today than you were yesterday. You can actually, right, like we talk about quantum shifting and quantum time, but like you can go through an experience yesterday, sleep on it, and wake up with a completely different mindset and a shift in your perspective that changes who you are today compared to who you were yesterday.
Yeah. I think I wrote about it this week. I thought I was writing about redundancy, but I was writing about identity loss and grief and shame. And these are universal emotions. If you've gone through a divorce, like I have many years ago, you go through grief, shame, you feel like you failed. I think if you lose a loved one again, you go through things like that. They're universal emotions. The women leaving corporate, I think, is also identity and agency and seeing maybe if they're choosing to leave themselves, seeing how their colleagues have been treated and how their lives have changed abruptly. And then they're saying, well, let me do something before that happens to me.
Right. So one of your posts, you also touched on this girl boss era.
Mm.
What does that mean?
this was an example of what you said, that you wake up with a different mindset overnight. I was asked to go to a retreat in June, and I met, it was from a community called the Ladies Realm. Wonderful community. And they curated 10 women. They gathered us all up in Croatia. And we hadn't known each other. And I can tell you that within 24 hours, with their facilitation and their wonderful way of helping us open up, we're telling each other things that, like, really deep.
Mm.
And there's where I came with the idea of the constellations. They were explaining that. And it's like the girl boss area, that we're not in competition with each other anymore. Or, we don't want to fight our way from another woman or another man to get to the table. We are, if you look at it as a constellation, we're all shining on each other whenever the other one needs them most.
Mm-hmm.
I just love that analogy. So some of us, sometimes you dim a little bit, but then the rest of us shine on you and give you that light. And so it's a really beautiful concept of women supporting each other and really shining a light on each other and sometimes it's you, sometimes it's somebody else, and we're just not in competition. I think everybody has their unique gift into the world, and I'm done with the whole, I don't know, trying to be better than anybody else, or
Mm-hmm.
especially in the place, or no.
Lately, what's been coming to me is this deeper need for human connection.
Yeah.
Like, we have had so much time, especially post-COVID, that human connection was all about, like, not connecting and being apart and not gathering together. And we as humans are made to need to be in relationships, and multiple relationships, not just one or two, and not relationships that are digital and online, to be in physical connection with somebody in someone's energy space, to be hearing and feeling their words, and to be able to reach out and, give them a hug or hold their hand, and to just be together. Like, that need to be together as humans, and the connection that we have is very much part of what sustains us throughout life.
I totally agree. It's so easy to say, oh, it's okay, if we can't meet up, we'll do it online.
Yeah.
And sometimes that kind of makes you a little bit lazy to not make the effort to go out and meet them personally. But then I totally agree. This retreat really helped me, came right at the perfect time. And we still communicate up until, like, half an hour ago.
Yes.
And we do still meet online, but we're looking forward to the next physical, in real IRL meetup as well. Absolutely. And as I said in the beginning, I am making an effort to keep up these relationships, not just these ones from the retreat, but even, I said, these wonderful women that I've met in the past couple of months. I mean, I'm really trying to nurture and to sustain these relationships, because you have to put in the hours, right? You have to put in the time. Even though every time I meet them, even if time has gone by, it feels like it's fine. But
absolutely.
Boss era is over. It's the era of female constellations. So that was my post.
I love that. That. Female constellations. Yeah, that connection.
So find your constellation and shine on.
I love that analogy too. Like, if you're dimming, that you have enough around you that light up you, and that help you get up. And then when you're feeling full and somebody else is dim, you help them. That is so
the whole competition thing and better than me thing, I mean, I think it's so over.
Yeah. We'll keep that in sports, not in life.
Yes.
So I have one last question for you. And the podcast is called Choose Life Boldly. And I'd like to know, what is your definition of choosing life boldly?
I think it's choosing something that resonates with you until it does. And then when it doesn't, you choose again. So being brave enough to pivot, being brave enough to choose something that maybe doesn't look like people would expect you to choose that, and just being okay with who you are, and if you're comfortable with it, just do it.
That's awesome.
I think
Simple and not always that easy to do, but
it's not. No, it's simple to say.
yeah.
Doing it is another story.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much for joining me today. It was an absolute pleasure hearing your perspective on so many great topics, especially about women in corporate and redefining ambition, agency, human connection. We touched on so much. So thank you so much, Rosi.
Very welcome. Always a pleasure.
Now that's what choosing boldly looks like. Not loud, not perfect, just decided. If this conversation connected with you, please share it with somebody who needs to hear it. Find me at juliamckelgan.com and know that A Life Chosen arrives in September and there's a course coming as well. I'll see you in the next one.